everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Julia and this is a library card education. Today I'm going to make another announcement as well as make a clarification. So first, the announcement. If you have ever wanted to study American geography, US geography, but you don't want to spend a lot of money, you don't want something that's out of the box from a curriculum house, you don't like how everything kind of seems to be the same on the market. It doesn't really matter if you are buying Charlotte Mason, if you're buying a workbook base, if you're buying Memoria Press. It's all essentially kind of the same thing. They all do the same job. It's just some are more worksheet dependent, some are more vintage book-esque dependent, whatever it might be. You're wanting something a little bit different. You're wanting something that can afford your children and even you to read and learn about things that you don't get in your typical geography or history studies. Something that's quirky, something that dives into lesser known facts of each place or time period, lesser known artists or composers, those sorts of things. I want to introduce you to another thing that I'm working on, which is US geography book lists or unit studies. Now, this will all be YouTube, so I have nothing for you to print. You'll have to just make notes and see what your library has, but that's the big thing here. I want to show you resources that you can get from your library. Ask your library to get in from other library resources or library systems rather from your state or possibly your bordering states, because some states do that. They will take books from other states and bring them to you, as well as free resources on the internet, YouTube, etc. And so I have already started compiling my list for Alabama. We are going to do alphabetical order, and I'm going to probably release that video 1 to 2 times a month, and it will, like my 5 in a row-ish studies, it will have everything from your youngest ages 2-ish on up to high school level. And some states will have more resources, some states will have fewer resources. There will be an abundance for some ages and not as much for others. It really just depends. But if you're someone that wants to dive into rabbit holes, you want to go into maybe the mysterious, the conspiratorial sort of aspects, you want to see what some of the taboo yet clean, nothing that's going to be offensive to good morals and good standing. Again, I come from a traditional Catholic perspective, so it's not going to offend that. That's always my anchor. But you want something that's kind of, not said in polite society, or you don't see those things being discussed unless you go looking for them. I'll have some resources for those sorts of things. And so I highly encourage you to watch these, implement these as they fit, have them buttress pre-existing unit studies that you're doing with your children or other curriculum that you're doing with your children. Make your own unit study with this. Make your book baskets. Use these for strewing. Use these for hobbies and interests, for biographies. That's another great one that you can use these for. And so I encourage you to look at that when they are released. Let me know what you think. Comment below if you have any questions or concerns, any ideas, and I'll be happy to entertain all of that. And then I want to take this time to make clarification. Because I'm doing similar based on 5 in a row, I want everybody to know you don't have to have 5 in a row to do this. I'm getting some questions and some concerns. I also want people to understand that if you do have 5 in a row, my videos, my supplements that I'm showing you are no way associated with the company of 5 in a row. They don't require those things. Nobody requires those things. You just need your manual and the book that it prescribes. Everything else is if you want to do that, if your children want that. I struggled for many, many years trying to find books that went along with it. I had very precocious readers or children that wanted me to read a lot to them when they were younger. And I struggled finding resources that fit that need. And so I decided that because I still have that struggle today, that I'm going to make these lists for you so that if you find yourself in that situation or you want additional materials to add to whatever it is that you're doing in your home, you can. Or if you are like me and you're coming to a place where you want a natural, holistic, more organic form of education, you don't want unschool, but you're somewhere in that relaxed, very relaxed or eclectic label, method, ideology, you can use this to fill book baskets, to strew on tables, to put in their reading baskets, whatever it is that you want to do. And it essentially allows you to create a unit study without the busy work. You don't have a script you have to follow. You don't have worksheets you have to follow. You don't feel constricted. Now, the opposite can be true, that there's just so many resources, you have no navigation system on how to implement that. And I understand that. But for those individuals like myself who want a plethora of resources to pick and choose from, that's what it's geared toward. Use it at your discretion as it fits for you. And so, as always, I will put links in the description that will link to different YouTube videos or articles, provided that YouTube won't censor it, because there are some things that I find that might be questionable for YouTube. It's not questionable from a moral or ethical standpoint, but just because YouTube gets a little bit sensitive, I may not be able to do that. And that's one of those things that will be offered if I ever do a membership or when I get a website up and running, that I would be happy to put there, and you can go find that at that location. But for now, I don't have that. So use this how you want, but I promise you, this is how I educated my children until the last 2.5-ish years, when things got so crazy with all my littles and I physically could not get the books and take the time to put those resources together for my older children. That's how we did our homeschool for years. And I don't regret it. I've seen fruits. I hear compliments of those fruits everywhere I go. People that know us, that don't know us, throughout various states. It's something that has just been a real blessing to our family. Add notebooking to it. You can add worksheets if you find them. Absolutely do your mapping. You can get maps, blank maps to do that with. You can do any sort of narration style that you want. And there's over 40 different types of narrations that you can do, from hands-on building to written to verbal, all of it. Do all of it. Make it what you want. But my videos are for you to glean inspiration, for you to glean resources that you aren't going to see somewhere else. You may see some overlap in some lists, but you're not going to see it. One of the downfalls, I truly believe, in the Charlotte Mason and classical communities, and even in the box curriculum communities, is it's not distinguishable from everything else. All of the Charlotte Mason companies kind of look like each other. All of the box curriculum companies look like each other to some varying degree. They all kind of do the same thing, have the same flow, get your children the same information at the same years, at the same time. And we're giving our children all the same facts. It's just funneled through different methodologies or funneled through different perspectives. And I don't want that for my kids. I want my kids to have a very broad understanding of the world and what has been and what it's going to be. And I want them to have information that they can use to think differently, to have a different perspective. I don't want to create an industrialized child, so I don't follow an industrialized methodology. Even with the curriculum I bought, I never followed it that way. And so for those of you who see that in yourself as well, this is your opportunity to have someone kind of giving you a few nuggets of information and resources to get your children to a place where they can be more of an individual and not just some standardized kid, but from a homeschool perspective. If that offends you, I'm sorry. I'm not meaning to offend you, but that's one of the observations that I have from the homeschool community at large. Doing this now for 10 plus years, I'm not a standard person. I don't want my children to be standard. I reject standardized methodologies and rubrics. So I hope that you can get something from these Lists, implement them as you want. They are not required for 5 in a row. They are not required for master books. They are not required for any curriculum that you choose. What's required is for you to just take it, use it as you want, enjoy it, leave what doesn't provide good fruits for you, and enjoy what does. So if you have questions, comments, let me know down below. I ask you please to share, to like, to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.